Yo, good morning wherever you may be. Good afternoon if you are having your lunch break, or good evening if you are driving home from work, winding down, or simply just relaxing. I need for you guys to go ahead and get comfortable, grab your snacks, get cozy, call a friend, light those candles because it is a new episode and a new season of Evolving with Life Coach Jarrell. What's up, my good people? What's up, my evolvers, man? How are you guys? It is July the 21st, and your boy is back with another podcast episode. And sorry that I kept you guys a little bit too long or longer than I expected, but sometimes I feel like it's not always about being on a schedule with, I feel like, especially important information or information that could help change people's lives. You kind of got to put it out there when it hits you and when the messages come to you and when they're telling you that now is the time. So, with that being said, now is the actual time. Man, I hope that you guys have been taking care of yourselves. I hope that you guys have been staying hydrated, especially in this heat. I know right now we have like some in different places up north, like Detroit, they have like air concerns and issues that are going on due to the wildfires that are in Canada. So I hope that everyone is taking care of themselves. Here in Charlotte, we've been in the 90s for at least the last 2 to 3 weeks, and it has been a scorcher outside. As someone who lived in Pine Bluff, lived in Arkansas, lived in Memphis for years, I'm kind of used to heat, so it really doesn't bother me like some. But I know when to stay in the house and to stay out of it, and I know when I'm okay to kind of, in a sense, venture out and be a part of it. So I try to make sure I do what I need to do early in the morning or usually before the sun kind of hits, or maybe I kind of get out and about when the sun kind of goes down. But I really want you guys to take care of yourself. Drink a lot of water, but also remember water is not enough. So get your electrolytes in, eat healthier foods, things like watermelon and cantaloupe and honeydew, those fruits that kind of in a sense house water and kind of in a sense aid you with that extra nutrition that you need and sources of water. So yeah. And before we go any further, first of all, shout out to Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and all of the other platforms that house my podcast. Oh, and YouTube. Yeah, my podcast is also available on my YouTube channel. And guys, speaking of my YouTube channel, I need for you guys to go over there and follow my channel by the name of Evolving with Jarrell. I have a weekly vlog that is available for you guys to subscribe to, and it's a free subscription. There's nothing that you have to pay for. But if you guys want to connect with me just a little bit more versus listening to me on the podcast, but you want to see me living here in Charlotte, you guys want to see me going out to different places, meeting different people, hanging out with friends, cooking, going to the gym, having more deeper conversations, I would really, 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 really love it if you guys could go over there and subscribe to my channel. And if you are already a subscribed person over there, you are an evolver not only on the podcast, but on the vlog. Be sure to jump down in the comment section and say, hey, this is PD Pablo, or this is Mariah Carey or Celine Dion. And I am letting you know that I came over here from the podcast and I'm supporting you and I'm proud of what you're doing. Support goes a long way. I'm sorry. So yeah, make sure you guys come on over there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And more than anything, I appreciate my evolvers, and I like to call anyone that supports my podcast, my vlog, or whatever the case may be. I like to call you guys evolvers because every day that you wake up and you put one foot in front of the other and you become a better person and you strive and you hold yourself accountable and you make better choices to go forth and be great in this world for yourself and for other people, that means that you are evolving. So if you are evolving, you are an evolver. So for everybody listening, man, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for the support. Thank y'all for the likes, the shares, the comments, the feedback. It really, really, really means a lot. So I don't know about y'all, but I know it's July, but we can go ahead and we could go ahead and wrap summer up. I'm about over this. I've never really been a summer person like that, because I just feel like there's just too much that comes with summer. You got people falling out all over the place. You got people musty half of the time. You got a lot of people that are always angry and irritated because everybody wants to be outside. Everybody has somewhere that they have to go. Everybody wants to just da 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 da. And so for me, I'm like, I'm ready for this to be over. I am ready for the leaves to start turning orange and brown. I'm ready for that crisp wind in the air. I am ready for them to start putting candy corn out in the stores. I don't need the judgment because I feel some of y'all just looked and kind of cocked your head sideways. Yes, I eat candy corn. I love candy corn and I love candy pumpkins and I eat them with peanuts. I'm old school and please stay out my business. I don't need the judgment because some of y'all be eating stuff that I be side eyeing too, like macaroni and cheese. Why are y'all eating macaroni and cheese? Yes, I said it and I'm not taking it back. And if you want to have a tussle about it, yes, we can talk about the macaroni and cheese slander because I'm tired of the candy corn slander. But no, man, I'm ready for that crisp wind in the air. I'm ready to start seeing fall decorations and Halloween decorations. For me personally, I talked about this on the podcast last year. When it starts getting into late September, October, November, December, those months, that is where I physically, mentally, and energetically, spiritually, I start to slow down and I can feel it. And it's because the world is changing. It's coming into that last season of the year and things kind of in a sense like plant life, certain animals are getting ready to hibernate and things like that. Things are just slowing down. And what I've learned to do is when nature and the earth and energies around me are starting to slow down, I don't push against it. I don't fight against it. I ask myself, what have you done from the beginning of the year all the way until now? And usually it's about 3 or 4 grocery lists full of things and accomplishments that I've done, whether that's traveling, vlogging, podcasting, going to the gym, working out, working my full-time job, being available for other people, supporting. I take a look at all of that stuff and I'm like, man, I've really done a lot of stuff from the beginning of the year all the way until like October 1st, right? And that is what? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. That's basically like 9 months or basically, yeah, we'll say 9 months of really hard work, consistency, dedication, succeeding in a lot of things and feeling like I haven't done the best, pushing myself. And I'm like, I kind of deserve 3 months of the year to allow my body to start slowing down so that I could rejuvenate and so that I could recover and get ready for the upcoming year. So something that I love to do during those months of October, November, and December, I like to look at everything that I've done and I like to, of course, give myself a pat on the back. I like to critique my work to see how things looked, what I was proud of. And then I like to start forming the blueprint for the upcoming year of what I want to do. And that is what I did last year, especially when it came down to my podcast and for my vlog. I knew that the first week in January, I wanted to be hitting the ground running with content. And so I spent October, November, and December working and turning my back bedroom into my podcast station. I was buying all of my lighting and my equipment and microphones. And when it came down to me doing my vlog, I had already started like filming stuff with my phone, but I was like, I need a camera. I want the vlogger experience. And so I took like 2 months and I just watched a lot of YouTubers and certain cameras that they were using, the pros, the cons. I shopped around, I looked at prices, and then I ended up purchasing my camera like maybe right before Black Friday of last year, so November. And then that's when I just spent the last couple of months just loading up on my content, man. And January 4th, I dropped my first vlog. And then not only that, I dropped my podcast and it's like I've just been going ever since. So now the goal is to look at all of the stuff that I've done this year and then ask myself, what can you do going into January of 2027 to out-top what you've done? Or what does the direction of things look like and where you want to go that will make you feel great about yourself? And it will continue to give your listeners and your subscribers and your evolvers, it's going to evolve and elevate not only you, but them. A lot of people, especially artists and musicians and things like that, sometimes it can be very easy to get content in what you're doing and thinking that it's enough. But you kind of, in a sense, have to do what I'm going to talk about in this podcast today, which is you have to constantly surprise yourself. You have to constantly surprise yourself. And what I mean by that is a lot of us, depending on our ages and where we are in life, there are so many things that we do daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly that have just become a part of our routine. There's no excitement in it. It's more of a chore or a duty, right? Think about it this way. When you think about work, we all have to get up in the mornings and go to work. I don't think any of us just wake up every single morning doing cartwheels and backflips and splits and popping bottles and throwing confetti and being excited about getting up and going to work. I just don't think that's a thing, right? But we know that it's something that has to be done. So what I like to kind of, in a sense, encourage people to do, I like to tell people to ask yourself, what can you do to make work fun? What can you do to surprise yourself when it comes to work? And when you think about what you can do, it's more of simple things. If you don't like your working environment, right? If you feel like the room that you may work in, it isn't the best, it doesn't feel the best, it needs to be spruced up, it needs a little liveliness to it. I encourage you to, hey, go out there and start changing your room. Change the environment, change the feng shui, change the energy, right? And sometimes that can surprise you and it can bring more out of you, whatever the role or position is that you are in your job. Sometimes it's just the environment that just makes you feel better. Okay. So at this point in time, it's again about surprising yourself and asking yourself, what can I do more of? What can I do less of to move me in a direction that allows me to be better or to be best? And so I was in the gym this morning and I was talking with this lady, and I met her. Her name is Miss Angela. And I was telling her that I do 45 minutes on the Stairmaster. And she was like, um, I can't believe you actually do 45 minutes on the Stairmaster. That is like a lot. And I want to say she's probably like in her middle 50s for the most part. And so I said, oh, well, I've been kind of, in a sense, doing this for a really, really long time. And so she last week, I want to say she did like maybe 10 or 15 minutes on the Stairmaster. And we just kind of chit chatted and talked along the way. And so I ended up seeing her this morning. And when I saw her this morning, she was walking behind me. And I said, good morning. She was like, good morning. And she looked at the Stairmaster and she looked at me. She was like, I said, you getting on here this morning? She was like, yeah. She's like, but I'm only doing 10 minutes. And I said, okay. I said, come on up here. So she was on the Stairmaster next to me. And I said, well, how was your weekend? And she told me that her grandchild had gotten christened, and she ended up going to an event with her sorority sisters. And so she looks at me and she says, well, I'm a part of a sorority by the name of Zeta Phi Beta. And I looked at her and I said, well, you're my sister because I'm a Sigma. And if you guys don't know, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated and Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated are the only fraternity and sorority that have a constitutional bond when it comes to the Divine Nine and HBCUs. And she smiled and her face lit up and she hit me. She was like, we family. And I was like, yeah. So we got to laughing and talking and having a really, really good time. And we were talking about music, and she was talking about all of the trail rides and different things here in Charlotte. And she looked at her Stairmaster and she surprised herself. And this is what I'm talking about. Um, and she said, I've been on here for 25 minutes and I only plan to do 10. And I said, yeah. And I said, when we're having really good conversation, time just seems to fly. And she was like, you at 30? She was like, I want to do 30. And I said, well, if you hit the cool down button will allow you to cool down for 5 minutes, and that's going to actually give you your 30. And she says, well, if I do the cool down, they don't count for a full 30. And I was like, your legs still moving, aren't they? And she looked at me and she said, you know what? You're right. I said, so it's all a part of the workout. And she finished her 30 and she just kept saying, I can't believe I did it. And she said, my mind really tried to psych me out and really tried to make me think that I couldn't do anything over 10. She says, but the more I just started thinking about other stuff and talking to you, My mind went somewhere else and my legs never stopped moving. And I actually did it. And I'm so proud of myself. And we high fived. And I was like, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, and after a while, you're going to go from 30 to 45. And she was like, now, I don't know now. I said, well, just think about where you came from. You just went from 10 to 30. She said, you know what? You're right. And she says, you know what? I think I deserve to have whatever I want to eat today as a celebratory win for me on this Stairmaster. And I said, it's Taco Tuesday. I think you deserve that. And guys, that made not only my morning, but it made her morning. And so it's just one of those things where you have to continue to surprise yourself. You gotta get out of your head if you think or feel that you cannot achieve something or you cannot win something, because that's never a healthy place to be. And so I want to leave this with you guys. It's very, very, very crucial for you to continue to surprise yourself. And what I mean by surprising yourself, start small. If you know that healthier eating is what you need to do, but you don't want to jump head first and just go on a full on diet and cut things out, start with something that you know could be a healthier option. If you're used to pulling up in Chick-fil-A and getting the nuggets and the and the potato wedges and the lemonade, how about a Cobb salad today? And instead of the lemonade, how about a water? Instead of French fries or something, how about a fruit cup? Right? If you're so used to sitting on the couch, looking at TV, listening to music with your legs kicked up and scrolling on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or something like that for 25 or 30 minutes, could you possibly maybe get up and walk outside and scroll on TikTok and Instagram for 30 minutes? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, get up and move your body. And it's just the simple things that you can do that allows you to surprise yourself. Because when you surprise yourself and you keep surprising yourself over and over again, you start to create more positive and more healthy ways of simply being. You know, I always like to say, the longer that you choose to argue with reality is going to be the longer that you're going to suffer. If you are tired of your life looking the same way, feeling the same way, moving the same way, being the same way, sounding the same way, if you're tired of suffering in that way, I really want to encourage you to push yourself extremely hard, but don't push yourself over the edge. Give yourself a nudge. Let's do that. Instead of pushing ourselves, let's give ourselves a healthy nudge. Let's nudge ourselves into the lane of being surprised and choose something different. And when you surprise yourself, I want you to live in that surprise. Ask yourself, what does this surprise feel like? What does it sound like? Is this a feeling that I would like to get more accustomed to, right? I said this on my YouTube live on Sunday. I said a lot of us grew up in households where we just didn't hear, I'm proud of you enough. We didn't really hear, oh my God, I can't believe you did that, right? But what we did hear a lot of is, you don't get praises and celebration for things that you're required to do or that you should be doing. And it's like, well, hey, I mean, I know I'm supposed to be making good grades. I know I'm supposed to not be in trouble. And I know I'm not supposed to da-da-da. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that we still needed to hear, I'm so proud of you. You're amazing. Like, oh my God, like that was dynamic. Is there anything that you can't do? We need that praise, right? We need that. And sometimes if you can't get it from other people, you have to give, be, and do that for yourself. So moving forward in this week, guys, and the entire month of July, and I promise I'm going to try to get y'all a podcast again before this month is out. But before this month is out, I want to nudge you guys to surprise yourself. I'm nudging you to surprise yourself. And the more you get familiar with those surprises, the more you're going to want more surprises. And those surprises are going to be like French fry sizes. You're going to have small surprises, medium-sized surprises, large-sized surprises, and then you're going to get those biggie-sized surprises. And when you get to the place of where those surprises start to feel good, man, there's no telling what your physical appearance is going to look like, what your inner energy is going to feel like, and how much light you shine not only in your personal life, but to and for other people. So once again, guys, that is today's podcast episode, and I hope it gave you just that nudge of inspiration that you needed. And I believe in you guys. I love you guys. And let's surprise ourselves this month. And hey, If this podcast really, really, really sounded good and it made you feel some type of way, remember, you can go to my YouTube channel and the podcast episodes are also posted there. Jump underneath the comment section and maybe tell me what that surprise was for yourself. Maybe tell me what this podcast episode meant to you. I would really, really, really love to connect with you guys because I'm really passionate about the work that I'm putting out in the content. And I'm not doing this for fame. I'm not doing this for monetization. I'm doing this because I love what I do. That's one of the reasons why I became a certified professional life coach, because I love speaking life into people and helping them to be better versions of themselves. I love to help people to see that the picture of the stories that were given to them is not the ones that they have to continue to read. And sometimes you can surprise yourself if you choose to pick up a different book or write your own book and tell or write or rewrite your own story. So guys, remember, you can follow me on Instagram at Life Coach. That's LIFECOACH _ Jarrell, JARELL. You can also follow me on TikTok at Evolving with Jarrell. And then you can also follow me once again on YouTube at my channel, which is Evolving with Jarrell. Right now, we are at 281 subscribers. So I am literally 19 away from 300. And the goal is to get to 500 and above before the year is out. So I would love your support. And I know I'll see some of y'all over there. But I love you guys. I love you. Go forth and surprise yourself this week. And we'll catch you in the next podcast.